It was a quiet Tuesday afternoon at Willowbrook Diner, the kind of place where the scent of freshly brewed coffee clung to the air, and the soft clink of cutlery on porcelain filled the silence between conversations. Sophie had worked there for 5 years, long enough to memorize the regular orders and the exact way Mrs. Patterson liked her toast. Extra crispy but not burnt. She wasn't just a waitress. She was a friendly face, a listener, a part of the diner's heartbeat. But things had been hard lately. Her mother's medical bills were piling up, her younger brother needed help with college applications, and rent day always seemed to come too soon. Still, she showed up every day, tying on her faded apron with a smile, because, as she often told herself, kindness doesn't cost a thing. That day, a scruffy older man walked in, his coat worn at the elbows, his shoes scuffed. He shuffled to the counter, avoiding eye contact with the manager, Mr. Calloway, who was already glaring. "Coffee?" Sophie asked gently, her warm smile unwavering. The man nodded but fumbled with his wallet, pulling out a handful of coins, not nearly enough for even a small cup. Mr. Calloway, ever watchful, leaned over and muttered, "If he can't pay, he can't stay." Sophie hesitated, but only for a second. She poured a fresh cup of coffee and slid it in front of the man. "It's on me," she whispered. The man's eyes softened, a mix of surprise and gratitude. "Thank you," he murmured, cradling the cup like it was the first warm thing he had touched all day. Mr. Calloway saw, and his face hardened. When the man left, after thanking Sophie twice more, the manager stormed over. "You can't just give away food to people who can't pay. That's stealing from the diner." Sophie tried to explain, her voice calm but firm. "It was just a cup of coffee, Mr. Calloway." He looked like he needed it. "That's not your decision to make," he snapped. "You're fired." Silence. The cooks peeked out from the kitchen. A few customers froze mid-bite. Sophie's heart pounded, but she stood tall. She had always believed in helping people, even if it cost her a job. Tears threatened to fall, but she blinked them back, untied her apron, and set it on the counter. "I hope one day you realize that kindness brings more to this diner than a few extra dollars ever could," she said softly before walking out. The next day, something incredible happened. A sleek black car pulled up outside the diner. Out stepped the scruffy man, except now he wasn't wearing worn-out clothes. He was dressed sharply, his hair neatly combed. Mr. Calloway's jaw dropped. The man wasn't homeless. He was Jonathan Hayes, the CEO of a nationwide restaurant chain, including Willowbrook Diner. He had gone undercover to see how his staff treated people, not just paying customers, but everyone. And Sophie had passed the test with flying colors. Jonathan asked to speak to Sophie. When they found her at home, still shaken from losing her job, he offered her not just a new position at the diner, but a promotion. More than that, he announced he would cover her mother's medical bills and set up a scholarship fund for her brother. "You didn't just serve coffee," he told her. "You served humanity." Sophie, overwhelmed, could only whisper, "Thank you," but Jonathan shook his head. Number. "Thank you for reminding me what real service looks like." The story spread like wildfire. The diner became a symbol of compassion, and Sophie's simple act of kindness, that single cup of coffee, changed not only her life but inspired everyone who heard her story. Because sometimes the smallest gestures have the greatest impact, and kindness always finds its way back.